Today's terrifying spooky spot will be continuing our looks at the Universal Studios home of the original monsters, the Frankenstein series of figures, Series 1, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Collect all 5 Universal monsters to build your very own 14-inch Frankenstein. This particular package includes the Frankenstein's arm. It actually doesn't even tell you whether it's the left or right, it just kind of just says arm. Also included, you get yourself a mini poster and display stand. On the back of the package, collect them all. You can get the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, the Mummy, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. This comes to us from the folks over at Toy Island. Toy Island. I don't think even Toy Island is still producing figures. The Universal Studios home of the original monsters, I think, went immediately after Toy Island having it. I think they went over to Diamond Select. By the way, you're looking at 2006, so if you are wondering how old this line was, as you guys probably have asked for the Dracula and Frankenstein, the line is from 2006. Having said that, Spot's going to take himself a terrifying break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we will unleash the Creature from the Black Lagoon. There's definitely more to come, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Included with the Creature, you'll get yourself a Creature from the Black Lagoon display stand. The same display stand featured with the Dracula as well as Frankenstein, just with Creature from the Black Lagoon down below. Very retro looking font. Absolutely love it. There's a slot at the back where you can take the poster that came with the Creature from the Black Lagoon and peg it to the back. It says the creature, it says swim at your own risk, warning down below. So far, still my favorite is Dracula. This I think I like a little bit better than the Frankenstein. Frankenstein, I just didn't really like the back card. But the benefit of it, I mean, if you don't like any of these cards, simply just take it off and you've still got yourself the display stand. It's not, you know, it's not joined at the hip, as they would say. You can certainly just take the card and remove that altogether. Also, having a look at the piece for Frankenstein that comes included with the Creature from the Black Lagoon, you also get yourself the additional arm. Reaching off camera, we've got ourselves so far a pretty large Frankenstein. Just going to take his arm, find the socket, that always helps, and peg it into place. And you've got yourself Frankenstein with his 2 arms. You can see he is already getting quite large by comparison. There he is next to Creature from the Black Lagoon. You can see that there he's quite a bit taller. He is going to be a very tall figure, to say the least. Still, quite a bit heavy as well. He is a very heavy figure. Moving them out of the way. Obviously, we will look at the Frankenstein as we progress with the rest of the reviews. The figure as a whole is pretty good. You can see clearly one big issue that I have with the figure is the torso. I'm not sure why the torso comes off as easy as it does. Probably some just quality issues, I'm assuming. I thought initially when I took it out of the package that I thought it was broken. I thought the peg had been broken on the inside of the figure, but if you remove it, there is absolutely no socket or anything like that that should be connected with itself. In fact, looking on the inside, it's just completely barren and empty inside. I don't know why even the gap is there, nor is there really a place where an adhesive could be applied. It's as if it's just intended to come off. You could simply glue it, but then that would mean you'd not be able to rotate the waist of the creature, which may not be necessarily a big deal anyways, because you don't want, as soon as you rotate it, the stomach is not going to line up with itself. It's going to look a little off. Now, I really liked Dracula. I really liked Frankenstein. You'll probably see progressively these figures may not be holding up as well. Creature is good, but I think by comparison, if I'm looking at it versus, say, what we got with the Diamond Select figures, Diamond Select's Universal Studios Creature was a far better figure. It was a little more of a statue than what we got with this figure. This figure is a much more articulated version of the creature, but it's a little more basic in the face. In fact, let's have a look at the face of the creature. It's good, but unfortunately I think the one thing that's missing on it is some paint details. The sculpt I think is pretty good, But when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking as if, which could be some testament to the line as a whole. Looking at the figure, I feel like the figure has a little more of a retro feel to it. This would have been a figure that I could see myself picking up probably in the early 80s, with, of course, the less articulation than what we're getting here. But it has a much more... I was going to say, like, it has a much more design to it, that it looks like it was a replica or a piece that perhaps even if you're going to Universal Studios, this would be something I would have seen myself picking up in the early 80s. Scales are really nice on the piece, little textured pieces on the skin, but again, without the proper paint, they've put a wash on it, but it just seems as if a lot of these features are getting lost. And perhaps they've just put too much in the way of this skin texture on it, that just too much of it is almost making the piece look lost. Had they put less on it and just resorted to a few scales here and there, it probably actually would work a little bit better to the figure. The one thing, as with all the other Universal Studios monsters from Toy Island, the articulation is definitely there. While I'm saddened by the fact that the waist, it does swivel, and again, I might just likely glue it. I'm again really confused as to why it comes off as it does. I mean, there is no place that I can even see. You could even say, well, there's a little clip there, there's a little clip there as well, a little ledge, a little clip. To clip it into place, sure, that's fine. But again, when you rotate it, there's no way you'd be able to glue it. But when you get to the head rotates only on a straight swivel. The arms do bend out via a pin joint. They move obviously forward as well. A bend at the elbow, a rotation in the hand. Also, his hands are just basically more palms, more like oven mitts, like catcher's mitts than anything else. And then as for the legs are always the most satisfying end of the figures because the legs go forward, back, out. As a rotation of the thigh, as a bend at the knee, and hinged foot. There are still figures now that can't seem to accomplish a leg joint like what they've done here. Sometimes we're relegated to a swivel joint that swivels, but then to get it to bend the opposite way, you have to rotate that joint so that the hinge is facing the opposite way. Here, they've managed to do it in both regards. You can move it forward, back, out. So I have to say, for the fact that this is a 2006 line, it still trumps some of the stuff that we get now. The only disappointing aspects really is the waist, but ultimately I might just glue it and call it a day. We'll just get the creature pegged into his base. It would have been nice if they could have spread the pegs a little further from each other on the base, but you could easily just have one foot pegged and then just, spread the legs a little bit more yourself. I think of the line... I think of this particular line, Creature's not really my favorite of them. I still think Dracula and Frankenstein are such solid pieces. The Creature more or less comes across to me, as Spot had already indicated, as something as a action figure that I would have picked up in the 80s. It has a much more dated look to it, but that can also add to the overall appeal of it. The fact that it's a little more dated, and by comparison, the Diamond Select version looks a much better figure. I think this lends itself to the idea that it's a really retro toy line. I look at this, and again, I think of something that would have been available in late 70s, early 80s to commemorate the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but with just additional articulation. Having said that, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, I think I'm going to give him a 7. Today's spooktacular spot, we were having a look at the Frankenstein series, Universal Studios, home of the original monsters figure line. Now, they say it's Series 1. Unfortunately, it was the only series that Toy Island produced, but still just a fantastic line of figures. Spot's still got two creepy reviews heading your way of the additional 2 monsters that made up this line. And then on top of that, we will be having a look at the 14-inch Frankenstein. It's definitely still more heading your way, so don't go anywhere, guys. Despite the fact that Creature's still in many pieces, I still think this is such a great figure. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Woo!